Partners done a tremendous job really getting on the scene very quickly after the storms came through. We obviously have GEMA that's here. Mike Smith's the lead here today. Director Stallings is over in West Point. I want to thank Major Deason with the Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Massey couldn't be with us this morning, but I was communicating with him over the last hours too to make sure that their needs were being met. The local EMA, Wayne Johnson, Chair Davis, who's here with us, the Mayor Pro Tem Chambers, who's with us, a lot of the other commissioners and council folks that have been paying attention to what's going on. Just from a state perspective, also just want to thank the State Patrol, DNR, Georgia Forestry, Department of Transportation, our law enforcement folks that are helping respond, but also our chainsaw strike teams and other folks that are getting on the ground to clear the way for our private sector partners like our power companies. And we certainly want to thank them for what they've been doing on the ground. I mean, they're working, as you can see, around town very hard right now to restore power and get people to some sense of normalcy here. We also visited the hospital earlier. Took a quick tour and got to see the damage there. I had met and talked to Delvecchia Finley, the CEO for Atrium Help. They are managing very well under the circumstances. Obviously had roof and water damage that they continue to work on. Their private sector partners have been on the ground 24/7 as well and helping restore order at the hospital. We did have a state facility, the Youth Development Center facility that got hit, the Department of Juvenile Justice. I know Interim Commissioner Reynolds Cobb and her team are working hard to get the fence repaired and other things, but we're seeing normal operations there. The weather folks confirmed this morning it does look like a EF1 initially hit here. It was a EF3 on the west side of our state, and obviously you can see from the damage around town, we had winds that were in excess of 100 miles an hour. Wayne briefed us earlier, around 10 businesses and around 20 homes that were hit in the local community, and we'll continue to work with GEMA, our federal partners, on response and potential aid depending on qualifications as we continue to do the assessment. Our main goal right now is making sure that we're keeping everybody safe and we're helping our private sector partners in the local government restore normal operations with power, emergency response. Obviously the EMA center here got hit, and we'll continue to be on the ground as long as we're needed. From a state perspective, that's why I immediately did the state of emergency to allow these state resources to act very quickly and respond not only here but also over in West Point, Georgia. With that, I'm going to let Mike Smith, Georgia Emergency Management, give you just a few quick updates, and then we'll open it up to questions for either Mike or I or the rest of the local folks that are here. I think they'll be glad to answer any local questions you may have. Mike.
Thank you, Governor. To echo what Director Stallings said yesterday over in Troup County, we do want to thank you for your quick, decisive action in getting that state of emergency out. We were able to get people on the ground very quickly after the incident happened. We have field coordinators on site right now who are still assisting with any of the evaluations. We were extremely fortunate, as the governor said, that here in this area that we had no fatality and few reported injuries that we had. So we're really thankful for that. Our thanks out again to Georgia State Patrol, DNR, and Forestry, who were out here assisting with traffic control very quickly, getting chainsaw teams, strike teams in place on doing that. Georgia Department of Transportation is also here in the area. They're inspecting bridges, have most of the roads open, but they'll be inspecting the bridges as the water starts to recede. So we ask everybody, please be patient with those. If there is any roadways closed, they will try to get them open as soon as they are deemed safe. As the governor said, it looks like we know now it was a EF1 tornado. As far as power restoration, as of this morning, it looks like we should have all the residents and businesses back online. There could be one or two stragglers, so if you are without power, please be patient, but power should be restored to the area at this time.
All right, anybody questions? Any questions for anybody? Well, it's unbelievable. I mean, especially, quite honestly, if you've gone through this, to you personally, if you're in one of these homes when the roof's blowing off or the front porch is being torn off or you have metal being ripped off your roof and it's in some tree, like the First Lady and I saw over there, you don't really think about what size of storm it is. A lot of damage here. As Mike mentioned, very lucky, no loss of life. But the EF3 that hit over in the neighborhood that we saw yesterday and several that we flew over in Troup County, I mean, it is just a gift from God. Nobody got killed. I mean, it's just people in those homes, complete devastation, homes completely ripped off the foundation. And so, we were very lucky, not only over there, but lucky here too. We had no loss of life. I know it's a tragic event for these families that were affected by this, and we're going to be here to make the best of this really tough situation. But just at the end of the day, I'm very thankful we didn't lose any lives.
Governor, what has your conversations been like with people that have been affected by the storm damage here in Baldwin County, but also in Troup?
Well, look, I mean, I think people are very, it's a terrific, horrific event to go through if you're actually at one of these, like if you were at the hospital or in one of these homes or at this emergency center. We saw that yesterday and today. But the response I've gotten from people is they're resilient. They're very thankful about how their teams are responding to restore order. They see the local state response. I mean, we continue to ask people to be very patient with us because obviously it takes time to do this, and we want to make sure we're safe and don't lose a life. I mean, we lost a lineman in the last storm that we had that came through, and we don't want to see things like that happen. So we ask people for patience, but they also can see by the show of force of local and state folks behind me that we're throwing everything we got to help the people over here, and we're going to continue to do that.
Governor Carlos with WGXA News, what specific help is your office offering all of the different counties after this storm took place?
Well, we'll continue to do assessments. I'll let Mike follow up if he has anything else. But I mean, part of we're went through search and rescue response, and we're continuing to do that, restoring power, getting roads open, inspecting bridges, making sure that while the local folks, the sheriff's office or anybody else is dealing with a tragedy, that we have our law enforcement folks here to make sure that individuals' homes aren't getting looted or businesses aren't getting robbed and things of that nature. So that's our immediate response. Down the road on potential federal aid and other things, we have to go through the assessment. We'll have to see if we meet the qualifications for that. But it'll be our top priority to help do that if we meet those qualifications. Anything? No, you covered it. Okay. Yeah.
Some of the areas hit are in high poverty areas. I know, like there's a trailer home park behind here. I mean, what extra resources are available for those areas?
Well, that's what GEMA will continue to do through their assessment. I mean, we those are the kind of questions that we'll ask, and we, as you can imagine, we have all kind of things that we have to dictate and different rules for qualification and other processes. So that'll be part of, I think, the assessment.
Great. As we're out doing the evaluations, we're looking at that. We do have to meet a certain monetary threshold to be eligible for a federal declaration. So we'll be working through that over the next couple of weeks to see where we're at. Obviously, the households are included. We look at infrastructure, power, and so forth. So it'll be a couple of weeks before we're able to make that determination.
Last question.
You mentioned moving. Has that been a big problem?
No, it has not, because we've had these great folks on the ground behind us.
Governor, one question here is, when we talk about the assessment, are we going to be doing the assessment in Baldwin County and in Troup County combined? How will that happen?
You want to speak to that?
Yeah, it will be any of the affected counties will all. Obviously, each county has its own threshold they have to meet, and then we have a statewide threshold. So we're taking into consideration any damages that were associated with this front line that came through, including any flooding and bridge infrastructure damages.
I know GEMA and State of
they're looking at that. On that, at this time, the dam appears to be stable, but they're going to have engineers on site to get out there who are properly trained to make that assessment on that.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, and we did just lose the visual there, but I wanted to recap some of what was said. We took you to Governor Kemp and local officials who are continuing to survey damaged communities, who are just picking up the pieces from the weekend and into Monday morning of just severe weather that ripped apart towns, particularly today. Governor Kemp surveyed and toured, I should say, Milledgeville, where just the devastation in that community has been very heartbreaking. We talked to some of these community members, and we've had our team in Milledgeville since this first happened, and it is just a devastating sight. And now we have been told by officials, confirmed, that an EF1 tornado did touch down in Milledgeville over the weekend and into Monday morning. Now, as we continue to provide you coverage on this, both on Atlanta News First and our Atlanta News First Plus digital platforms, I just want to say that for this community, this is not something that is they're going to be able to move on from in a day or a week. This is going to be months and months of recovery, and we're going to stick with you and keep you updated every step of the way. If you do want to donate or help out in any way, these vulnerable communities could really use your help. We have a full link on our website at landnewsfirst.com.